Welcome to post-sell in our New England Patriots franchise, where we're headed to the offseason with our tail between our legs after losing what felt like a win against the Baltimore Ravens. We're in a pretty decent lead situation entering the fourth quarter, gave up 17 points, too many interceptions, and lost the game. Of course, the Ravens did come in with a pretty good game plan, and that was play what works on offense. As you can tell, they didn't run the ball as much as they normally would. Derrick Henry only had 10 carries, so they went away from that, and then obviously forced us to throw the ball. Sure, 84 yards, 4.7 yards per carry is not bad, but when the previous two games were 500 yards rushing combined, yes, that is a massive drop-off. They brought a lot of 5-down linemen, a lot of stacked boxes with linebackers, and they forced us to throw the ball, which in the second half of the season, we really weren't doing a really good job of. And I can't even really blame Drake May. The coverage has been tight. The defense has been very opportunistic. Anytime the ball hits their hands, even in a tough catch-and-traffic situation defensively, they seem to come down with it. And, of course, there's been a couple of inaccurate throws because of pressure. So it's a tough situation, and we had a hell of a year making the championship round. But, yes, this should be us in the Super Bowl. Let's take a look at the Pro Bowl, see who made it. Obviously, a lot of our guys would be representing in this game. Don't know if they let you play the Pro Bowl anymore. Not that we would want to anyways, but looking at quarterbacks, Drake May made the Pro Bowl, which is a little surprising with the picks that he had. Stevenson obviously was going to be running back 1. Ricard was fullback 1. Wide receivers, where the hell? Oh, yeah, Polk was injured. Faulkner, though, number 1 tight end. Anyone else here? I'm looking around. Trent Brown at right tackle. Left end backup is Uche. Defensive tackles, no. Linebackers, no. Cornerbacks, Gonzalez at 3. Peppers at 1. And Nick Cross is a punt returner. Okay, so yeah, a lot of Pro Bowlers for us. Don't know if I missed one of our guys in here. I don't think I did. But yeah, a lot of Pro Bowlers for us. Probably the league-leading Pro Bowl team on either conference side as we're headed to the Super Bowl, which we're obviously not headed to the Super Bowl. It's going to be the Cowboys versus the Ravens, two teams that you would kind of expect to be in there. Before we do any of that, though, we do want to take a look at potential dev ups or dev downs, because we do have dev regression on. And looking at the dev ups, it would appear that Faulkner is now a superstar development trait player with Persistent as his ability, which does not make a lot of sense. Bulldozer also doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's a cool ability, so why wouldn't I? As far as what we want to do here, I don't freaking know, dude. Balance Beam? I don't know if it's like... It's kind of tough to decide what's fair or not. I'm going to go Reach For It. I think Reach For It sucks, but he is the type of player that would reach for it. As far as, offense goes, though, the rest of the guys, very glad to see that Polk didn't regress, as he definitely could have. He had a down year because of injury, but maybe they factor in the kind of yards per catch numbers, as, 14.2 yards per catch isn't bad, and 12 touchdowns is great. I mean, he was on par for like 20-something, but, just injuries didn't allow him to be on the field that much. Defensively, any dev up or downs? Uche's a superstar. Pepper's a superstar. McKenzie is a superstar. We got some dev ups here. Gonzalez is an X factor. The corner room is great. We got mid KO, mid zone KO, strip spec, and then persistent. Once again, another ability that probably doesn't matter too much because he's not actually an X factor. We'll go tip drill. I think that's kind of relevant for him. A lot of tip balls on that left side of the field, our right side technically. And then we, of course, have Uche, who had, did he even really have that kind of season to be getting that superstar dev? Was this not a worse season than last year? Yeah, technically just as good, because obviously more injuries, but also more tackles for a loss. 9.5 sacks is pretty good. Injury concerns and all that. Not bad for him to get to superstar. Roberson doesn't go up in dev, so maybe DT is something we look at. He had some injury concerns and it really didn't get to upgrade as much as we were hoping he would. Gonzalez, of course. Was he already an X Factor? Bro, how do I forget things? Why am I so forgetful? I remember Bottleneck. I remember every time he's in the zone, nothing happens. Which is pretty rare anyways, but still. And then Peppers, I do know for a fact, was not superstar, which is a pretty damn good dev up to get. Deflator. Defenders with this ability will... he had Deflator and Lumberjack. Holy crap. So he's got like the goated hit sticks, and he has deep in zone KO. That is easily the best RNG I've ever had for abilities, without a doubt. And then I think that was pretty much it, unfortunately. It's not a bad-looking squad, though. Gamble doesn't go up in dev, which kind of sucks. Definitely some things to upgrade, but also, feeling okay about where we are. First-round pick-wise, wide receiver, edge, those are probably the two things, but once again, we're probably going to base it off of best available most of the time. Yearly awards, do we want to look at this? We already kind of looked at this, no? I don't really know why we're looking at that. Who cares? I don't. Let's move on to the next week where we get into the staff stuff. But more importantly, I want to take a look at who wins the Super Bowl, obviously. I'm pretty curious about that. See if it's the Ravens that stole our spot or not, or if we were going to lose anyways to the Cowboys. If we're going to beat the team that beat the team we lost to, And yeah, that is the case. The Cowboys do win. We have a media availability, which is probably going to be something to do with our drafting or our off-season plan, if you will. Before that, though, I do want to take a look at the mock draft, which, of course, is going to have us pretty low on the list, probably 30, 29, so not the worst pick in the world. 30 is literally the worst pick, in my opinion. Talk about it all the time. 31, you're at least in the Super Bowl, right? You get that extra, couple of weeks of entertainment and all that. 30, you just missed out. We're very close to him, though. At 29, they say center. I actually think we do need a center. First-round center, though, that might be a completely different story. But let's take a look at retirements as well. There could have been some of that going on. We lost Troy Hill. He was kind of a mentor for the corner group. But let's see if there's any other big names. Like D-Hop is obviously a big name. Adam Thielen, Mosley, Bowles, Terran Armstead, Batonio. A lot of good linemen. Patrick Peterson, once upon a time, was really, really good. Taysom Hill. Cordero Patterson, one of the better kick returners all time. Blaine Gabbert's a really solid mentor. No one absurdly great, and no one really necessarily still in their prime. I suppose Terran Armstead and Batonio were still pretty good, but not like, in the 90s. Maybe Terran Armstead, but not in the 90s. I don't even think he would be. So, obviously a lot of guys that are just, end of their career and get to live the great life, not the good life. There's the good life, and then there's the great life. But let's take a look at the next few months. Obviously, a lot of off-season plan stuff. Planned during the off-season. Was that person's hair falling off? I don't even know. Can relate. Matt, make a splash and upgrade the roster. I think we want to win the draft. That's how we got to where we are right now, is winning the draft. Been winning the draft for a couple of years now. Maybe drafted. No. We're drafting a sleeper, of course. I'm pretty sure you can get through this, even if it's not in the rounds 5 to 7, as long as the overall is 75 plus. They do give you credit for it, which is good, because getting a 75 plus in those rounds is pretty tough outside of like a special teamer. But yeah, I'm not really sure why they're telling me to look at the scouting and all that right now, because there's just honestly no point. There's so much more information we have to wait for. And, there's just no point in that. Let's take a look at the upgrades real quick, just in case we might want to make an informed decision based on somebody having upgrades that we didn't really pay attention to, They're like, oh, we weren't going to grab this guy, but he has +4, you can actually become a great player. But not going to be the case here, so we don't have to worry about that. It's really just McKenzie, and the rest are all, kind of practice squad players. Win the draft. Trust that his coach will win the draft. Why would he care, though? I guess he's kind of like the number one wide receiver, so maybe he would. All right, we got some options. You got Christian Gonzalez, who's an option. You have Bentley, who we're just not going to pay. Cole Strange, we could definitely do better. Jonathan Jones, let's take a look at, because, we talked about he could be. He also regressed to normal, by the way. But he could be around still. He's not a bad slot corner. But I think at this point, especially with the drop in speed, that dial just makes more sense at the 3 spot anyways, the slot corner role. Sammy Harrington never really even got the field much. A lot of backups here. David Andrews, obviously, he basically arguably could retire anyways. Don't know why he didn't, to be honest. But yeah, outside of like a 5th-year option for Gonzalez, which I think we're just going to just pay him normally, I think we're good. I don't think we're going to spend any money on re-signings. So let's head to free agency. We do have a lot of money. We'll have to take a look at who we have to pay in the future, but obviously Drake May is still going to be on that rookie deal. That's really where, your window is, that rookie contract if you can. Douglas needs a contract. You probably pay him. Onwenu, you likely pay him. I can't say for sure, though, because not only is he expensive, but his ceiling's kind of peaked here. 85 overall, 28 years old. He's injured quite a bit. we'll see what happens there. We'll definitely see what happens. Duggar, I wish I could already get rid of, but, you know, that penalty is just not even worth it. I'll just keep the depth, I guess. Edge, though, Ojulari, Uche, they need contracts. Pat Ricard needs a contract. City So. Mapu, I mean, you definitely could replace him as well. He's only a 76 overall. Keon White's a great depth guy. So Edge is definitely going to be pretty high on our list because not only can we replace our starters, but backup is also kind of a concern a little bit. But let's take a look at free agency, see if there's any names we might want to spend money on. DeMarcus Lawrence, that's a one-year type of thing. Could do it, though. Even though it's 1 year, could do it. Don't know if I really like him as a pass rusher anymore, though. More of a block shedder, and honestly, just the way he played with Dallas, who did just win the Super Bowl in fairness, not very good, right? Some of these seasons are, pretty bad in here, but really the last season, not very good. You have the right tackle, which we could go with. I like our left tackle. Onwenu isn't ready to go just yet, so it's an option, but you'd be more of like, can you put him at guard kind of situation. We do have Martin Emerson here, who could maybe play safety or could fill in that new slot role. The zone coverage is great, but I don't know if I really see him as a slot corner. Do you? I don't think you do. I really don't. I think you see Dial. I want a guy with good change direction, playing the slot role. Roger McCreary, he's, kind of a smaller dude. What's the change direction here? Why don't they show change direction on the main screen? It's just as important as almost any rating there is, and yet you never get to see it. Yeah, unfortunately, your best bet for change direction is probably Gordon. Not that 87 or 80, I guess both are 87. Not that 87's bad, but yeah, I would like a little bit better. When Jonathan Jones is the same change direction rating as you know things are maybe not so agile. But I think it's probably smarter now to look at the positions by position instead of an overview. Backup running back, I mean, Gibson didn't really get much of a burn, and it's not because he's bad. It's just we don't really need a backup too bad. But Ford is kind of decent. He's kind of like a faster, better Gibson. Keaton Mitchell. He's pretty good at catching too, wasn't he? Or was it someone else? Keaton Mitchell might be worth a little bit of money here. Got some speed, could be a return man at worst. I'm kind of thinking 2-year 10 is looking pretty worth it for him. It's 4-bar, no one else wants him. I think we might be able to make that happen. Then we have a couple of young fullbacks in here. 84 speed Algier, who has not a good bunch of blocking rating. CJ Ham looks pretty damn good. LaFleur looks decent too, but he's not that fast. Blasingame is still super speedy. Staley is super speedy too. I mean, I like Pat Ricard. We got him for another year. There's really not much of a push to replace him, so we're probably not going to do that. Mike Evans all the way down to a normal dev, which is crazy. A 79 overall, 84 speed normal dev. That is brutal, but probably fair. At this point, he's like 33, so it kind of makes sense a little bit. Who's this? Manny Rhodes. Any speed guys that are falling off the radar a little bit? Zach Rich, not really. Tight end, we actually have some pretty decent tight ends, but could always have more. Isaiah Likely, $7 million, $8 million really per year is a little costly. Jonnu could bring him back, maybe. Schoonmaker, it's an interesting name. Brevin Jordan. N'Keal Harry is more of a wide receiver, obviously. Donald Parham, big fella. Albert Okwuegbunam. Let's actually take a look at our tight ends. Who do we have as our backup? I know we have Bell, but is that it? We have Bell and then some super backups. Yeah, I mean, I can live with the top two we got and then maybe go UDFA for a different tight end maybe after the draft. But we now move on to the O-line where David Bakhtiari's old injury-prone self is there. Braxton Jones, I don't think he really developed here. 79 overall, it's not really much going on there. We need a guard, so obviously I'm kind of looking at all avenues, not just guard itself. Maybe a tackle that didn't really pan out and maybe makes more sense at guard could happen. Kenyon Green, I think this is almost a downgrade, to Cole Strange, so, why would I do that, obviously? What about center? We need a center and a guard, technically. Andrews is still there. I mean, you could bring him in for depth. Obviously, we had some injury concerns, ironically enough, mainly due to him. What actually is his injury rating before we decide, hey, you want to come back? 85. It's not great. It's not great, but it's okay. Yeah, his blocking is pretty mid, though. I will say Ted Karras as a pure pass blocker is pretty good. Does anyone want him? Because I don't want to pay him top dollar, but I would pay him a 1-year 4. Obviously, a 1-year 4 is, I think, pretty decent for us. Anyone else? What about Garrett Bradbury? Used to be pretty damn good. More of a finesse blocker, sort of. Let's go to the right guard spot. Brandon Sheriff down to a star dev. Cole Strange actually has an offer on him now. Might actually have to spend a little bit of higher pick than I thought we were going to on O-line. Needing 2 linemen is going to be a little bit tough. Is it actually 2, though? Pass block power is great for Sheriff. Pass block finesse is decent. The rest is just pretty mid. I mean, he's good. 12 mil is also not that much. Injury at 85. I would like higher. Let's go back to Cole Strange, see what he's like. Yeah, we were kind of building like a really base guy that obviously isn't great at anything, but he's good at most. What about right tackle? Could you move him over? Not really. He's not that athletic. Brandon Sheriff. I mean, I might want to put offer here. 1-year 12. See where we're at. I mean, we're competing with the Vikings. I'll do a 1-year 14. It's another one of those cases like, you know, I didn't really want him too much, and then I seen that they wanted him. I'm like, no, you got to give him back. He's ours. D-line, you know, talked about needing, depth at the edge, maybe even a starter. Can we find that here? That's a good question. Defensive tackles, a lot of, old veterans that come in maybe rotationally at best. Logan Hall, he's kind of like a versatile edge. Let's take a look at what his ratings look like. He might even be a candidate for playing backup. He's okay. If I do like a 1-year 4 for him as well, I'd do it. I'm kind of throwing 1-year 4 mil. I'll do 1-year 4.5. I'm throwing these offers out there. Something sticks. Why not? If not, we'll move on. Left outside linebacker Clowney. What's Clowney looking like these days? I could work with that. Is this a 1-year 5? He's a little bit more notorious. He also does not have mentor. Damn, I thought he was going to have mentor. 1-year 5 for Clowney. Just get that backup room moving, because we don't have Taki anymore. We just ran by him right there. Nakobe Dean, not a bad name, but he's got a lot of offers. I mean, you're asking for $10 million per for Nakobe, which isn't bad, but when you don't actually need him, Khalil Mack. Oh, wow. Okay, I didn't think Mack was going to be that good still. 90 power move at 35 and normal? I mean, I have to get rid of one of our targeted players then. Do you throw Clowney off the list for Mack? I mean, we've gotten guys that have been like, our D-line has been severely injured. We lost the whole D-line for, once upon a time. A 1-year 8 for Mack seems pretty damn good. Seems pretty good to me. Corners, we talked about it. I don't think we can really do anything else, though. We're gonna see of the 5 guys who we get, if any. We see 2 move along, which we get both. Okay, I mean, obviously Mitchell makes sense because nobody wanted him. 2-year 10's great for us. Really dynamic, running back that we just added. And then Brandon Sheriff is a really big contract. The rest, though, a little surprised to see that, maybe Mack didn't come along. Oh, God. I've really kind of enjoyed... I should have just paid him right away. But the more I thought about adding Mack, the more I got excited. And, yeah, I'm glad we bumped the offer because this is going to be a great help. A guy that maybe he's had semi-injury concerns himself. What's that injury rating? I mean, 88 looks great to me. He's still really good. I mean, he could even be our starting edge over Ojulari when it's all said and done. The preseason's going to be wild. But we got our eval situation done. We still could make a play. I should have looked at safety as well. Petrie's interesting. Not anymore, obviously. Savage actually signed. I'm a little surprised by that. Jordan Poyer. How slow is he? Yeah, I was about to say, 79 speed. How is he even still playing? How do you make the evaluation a still play at 79 speed? That's kind of crazy. Who's this? Manny Weston? Sydney Weston. I don't know where Manny came from. actually a pretty good value backup. I might try to go for him too. There's a couple of names here. I don't think we're going to do any like crazy names that are going to be game changers, but some of these we'll throw in there, and if we get them, we'll show you what happened. We're also able to add Andrew Booth on a 2-year, $8 million deal. He's 25 years old, so he's still somewhat young, and he looks pretty good. 89, or 79 press, 80 man coverage, 73 catch, 91 across the board for the most part, 90-91 for athleticism ratings. Even got some hip power. Maybe some injury concerns a little bit, but not a bad depth piece, I don't think. I think he's really good for our DB room. And, of course, some more success through free agency. Ted Karras, a 1-year $4, great value for the offensive line depth. And then Sidney Weston, a really good depth safety. The rest, probably not going to get, but you never know. So before we go into the scouting process, obviously you want to take a look at the draft picks we have. Not a whole lot of depth, right? No 5th, 6th, or 7th, but we do have our 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and then a different 4th, but 4th intact, and that's really all that matters, not missing those core draft selections. Could be a trade down, could be a trade up. I'm not going to rule anything out. Sometimes we have kind of an idea in mind, but a classic best available pick type of situation. Still, edge is on the horizon, on the mind a little bit in the sense that, we could end up with a starter rather than, sure, we have Mac, but he's not a long-term starter, right? So we're going to do what we can to try and make a team that has good longevity. Obviously, quarterback isn't really a big concern, but, we'll take a quick look here and there. Maybe, David Johnson, the quarterback, kind of off glance, looked like somebody maybe I would want to look at. What kind of, like, pro day stuff? Is there any, like, speed guys? I see a 4.55 here. He's 24, unfortunately. But R.J. Gregory, great throw power, seemingly fast. Might be something there to look at. I'll throw him on the list at some point, maybe. Running backs, I don't think we need to look at, but I'm going to look down the line just a little bit. You can see a 4.37 there. Definitely is going to catch the eye a little bit. And let's take a look at him. Reese, 4.37, like we talked about, really fast. Kind of mid, but for the most part, he's a UDFA type. I don't want to really move somebody like a running back that high on our list, but I kind of want him on the list, if you will. So realistically, I think we're, instead of going through the line of, QB down to strong safety or punter, kicker, whatever, we're going to go for, or look at early on, positions of need first. And I got to say, just looking at this right now, these wide receivers actually don't look too bad based on the 40 time alone. We can see a 1-2 Jared Broyles. It's 4.44, but look at this left side, the speed. It looks lackluster. I'll put him on my list for now, but obviously that could just really go any way. D. Patton, very raw looking. Speed seems to be a little more in line with what it actually says. So we'll see what happens there. Donnell is going to be super raw, but insanely fast, showing that 4.25 isn't actually as true as it says it is. So definitely something to pay attention to there. 4.42. I definitely want someone on the taller side, but I'm also not going to ignore good players. So Way will make the list. I think I've seen a little bit more good than bad there. 23-year-old Carnegie is just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. We have Williams, who's 6 foot tall. Quinton Williams. Once again, I would prefer someone a little bit on the taller side, but I'm willing to take whoever I think is going to be good. I don't really like the fact that he's 23, obviously, but more importantly, I don't really like the D release and all that kind of stuff. Nicholson, I don't hate the ratings, I don't hate the size, but that 40 time is terribly slow. Then we have Antoine Cox, 4.44. And obviously, the big thing with wide receiver is that you just don't know enough about their ratings. The ratings, they always say F and D's, but there's so many that, like, they almost all have to be F and D, because if they're all A, that means they're all in the 80s, and it's just that's not true. They're obviously not going to be that, but even if you have a C, you could be in the mid 70s for a lot of the ratings. But yeah, the top of the draft class looks decent for the wide receivers, but then the rest, it's starting to look pretty bad. At this point, it's so bad, I'm just going to show you guys, like, if I actually find someone halfway decent, rather than, going through every single one of them. And, of course, we see one of those classic potential superstar dev types, not really built to be a boundary receiver, maybe not even built to be a receiver at all, more of a kick returner, but obviously somebody that's going to make our list. All right, now we're moving on to the tight end position. I'm going to be going down the list here a little bit to see if we can find any of those, kind of can't miss 6-7 plus type gems. I don't think we have anyone like that here, but we got a couple of day 3s that look intriguing, like Tulloch is probably the first guy that comes to mind here. Cedric Tulloch. Great speed. Agility is elite. Strength is great. The rest, not so much. Jumping's decent. But yeah, change of direction and excel are pretty low. But as a day 3 guy, if he falls to the 6th round or something, it might be worth grabbing. So I'll put him on my list. I don't really see myself going any real higher than like day 3 type. Henry Moss, he's 23, but he's not a bad name either. So we'll put him on the list as well. I'm not sure if I would consider either of them to be, really draftable for me personally. This guy looks great, 5'2", insanely athletic. Don't need a tight end that bad though, so I don't really see a world where I'm like, yeah, I'm going to take that guy because I feel like he's worth the value. It's like, well, I don't know. We have so many other needs. Did we focus tackle? We might have focused tackle, which I honestly, I'm not really sure why we did that. Was it tackle? Maybe it wasn't. It might have been a bunch of different positions. You can see corners and safeties are, pretty known as well. But yeah, tackle, it's a need, but I usually don't like looking at tackle too much because it's very tough to get a tackle that's really good. So yeah, it kind of sucks we don't really know much about these guys. This guy, 1 of 2, he looks great. Unfortunately, he's 23, which doesn't, it doesn't kill it for me, but it's like there's a good chance that the guy, if he's hidden, is only going to be star. And there is a really good chance, and I'm going to find someone else that's star later on anyways. So it's like, why go into the first round for a 23-year-old probably star guy when I could just wait till later and get someone else that's probably star that isn't 23, What else do we have? Guard. I don't really think first-round linemen in general are really going to be on my list too high unless they look great. This guy looks pretty good. He's not a round 1. Still don't even know if I really think he's all that good, but I'll put him on my list for now. What about these guys? A bunch of Bs in there. This guy actually looks really solid. He's got B across the board. Ooh. 245. That's a big guard. Caleb Hunter's making my list. He's making my list, and I'm checking it twice. What about Harrison? Looks a little too raw for me to really trust him. Any other tackles, though, that were kind of like, hey, round 1, if they fall, we're going to go for them? The 23 years old, it always gets me. It always gets me. What about the centers? UDFA is usually not something you want to pay attention to. Palmer automatically just off of 3 to 4 is probably going to make himself a chance here. I really like this guy. Based on his athleticism rating, some of those key ratings, I think he is probably the guy we trade up for in the 3rd round. That might be our future center here. And by future, I mean like this season future. Like that now. And then right guard, 1 of 2s. I mean, I will pay attention to them. This guy looks pretty good, actually. Mitch Eckel. Super strong, decently fast. There's some ratings there. What about Agnew? Louis Agnew, 6'5", 330. Strong as well. Pretty good, too, I think. First round lineman, though. And once again, they're always going to be off my my list initially. Fowler looks a little too raw for my liking. Brant's. What about Brant? Carl Brandt, very, very raw. I don't know what's going on here. There's like a bunch of... I guess pass block in general is really good. That A to C pass block could be just really solid. And then day 3, I don't go UDFA like ever. Like UDFA is just really rare to be good unless they're just clear cut. Then we have a bunch of tackles that are like top 5, round 1 caliber, and then that's where it ends. Past that, it's gone. Right tackle looks great. I mean, that's a good right tackle right there. Top 5, though, so it makes sense. BJ McKinley, really solid pass blocker. Obviously, another really solid-looking player. And then Clancy is probably your last bet here for right tackle, who's not that fast, but strong. I mean, he'll make my list, but I highly doubt we're going to grab him. I wish I knew a little more about these players. You can see a UDFA here that's a grade, a day 3 grade, so I mean, that might be enough just pure value-wise to be like, hey, we'll take him in the 6th if he's there. Is there anyone in the left tackle spot like that? Unfortunately not. I wish I could have a... You know, the 100% scouts, it's just so nice. It really is. And then pass rush, man, these guys look raw. This guy, like, I mean, he's B finesse, that's all I know. Right? He's 2 to 3, though, so I think that's enough to be like, yeah, it's a later pick. Why not take a chance if we have no one else? Ferguson, Braxton Ferguson, B power move. 471. 471 at 276 is not bad. But yeah, I don't see myself drafting him. See if we have any other like redeemables. See a bunch of B finesse slash B power. So we'll throw in there. David Jarrett, B finesse. Pretty athletic. I mean, he makes the list. Day 3 makes the list without a doubt. Then we move on to Miller, another one of those B types. B power move, makes the list. What else? Hamilton, Jeremiah Hamilton. He's a little bit more raw looking, not making the list. Was there anyone else? These are the guys I've been kind of scouting lately in rebuilds because they actually do look pretty good. B finesse. Yeah, I mean, you gotta take a chance on it potentially, but they all have a couple of redeeming qualities, and that's really all that matters to make the list of the scouting board and to potentially even get taken. Was it Wilcox, and then we'll look at Freeman. 23 shouldn't throw me off that hard, but yeah, when you do have to develop them a little bit, there's more reason than ever to potentially, like, hey, I don't know if it's worth it. A couple of power move Bs in there, why not? 475. It's a little bit on the slower side. I know that left side says good, but now we're starting to get maybe a little too slow. Just slightly too slow. What about Dane Parker? All right, we got maybe some bigger ballers here. Oh, we do. At right end, Quincy. Chris Quincy, not that fast, but has an A finesse. He's a round 1 talent guy, so if he does fall to our pick, which is really late in the first round, maybe you look at that guy as an option. Schmidt, another slower guy, but looks faster for sure. Townsend, he's more of a defensive tackle, which we could use, so this might even be our most realistically needed player that we're actually putting on our board right now. What about Favors? B finesse. I really don't like Tally. Tally looks so raw, dude. All right, let's look at Miles. 6'1", not a huge fan of the height, but he's okay. I don't like him, though. Then we move on to Castle, who knew how to B in there. B power move. Solid. Another solid speeder, which I get it. Speed shouldn't matter that much. You know what? I think Nick and Joey Bosa just, they convinced me. They're not even here. They're on my mind there. They are not the fastest players, but they are good. And that's all that matters. If you're good, you're good. What can I say? If you're good, you're good. The rest, got a couple in here we'll take a look at. All right, really didn't see much going on elsewise. We have a couple of DTs. They look really bad, though. I suppose this guy looks pretty decent. Saunders, Glenn Saunders, a bunch of Bs across the board. Pretty athletic on my board. Yeah, I'm really, we're going through this list, and I got to be real. It's, as it probably should. Oh, wow. Yeah, I don't need a nose tackle, but that guy looks insane. It is getting tougher and tougher to decide. It really is. Like, I'm looking at this, I'm like, man, I really don't know. I really don't know who I want. Roy Cobb, 2 to 3. Obviously 23 years old, but really ridiculously fast. Could be somebody that breaks my kind of rules that I have. My unspoken, although I speak about it a lot, rules. Yeah, I don't know about that. It's a very raw-looking player. Bunch of DTs. Any redeeming qualities? I see a B. Obviously, there's going to be some guys in here that might slip off our radar because they don't have, exactly what I'm looking for. But that's the educated guess. That's the best you can do. And I'm not even sure what you do with a DT like this, but this guy's really strange. He's got an A finesse. He's 6'4", 272. Maybe you play him at edge? He's so elite in speed for a DT that it makes sense that he would be an edge rusher, no? Of course, we have Oscar Vasquez. One would assume an edge rusher. We do need linebacker. Oh my god, this guy's huge. This guy could be a sneaky steal, right? 6'6", decently fast with an A power move in day 3. That looks like a pretty good player to me. Where's the day 3? Where the hell was he? There he is, Chapman. Any, actual, off balls? Not really. In my opinion, not really. Bell, 23 years old, meh. Yeah, I don't really like that room too much. This is usually obviously where you're going to get your linebackers. A 4-4, a 4-4-8, a 4-3-8. If we don't end up with at least one of these guys when the draft is over, I'm going to be pretty mad. I'm going to be pretty mad at myself. Like, some of these guys, I guess that change of direction does kind of suck. But, I mean, the speed on some of these guys is crazy. I think that 2-3 is going to be the best, which kind of sucks. Yeah, look at the change of direction. So good. All right. I mean, you kind of know the gist of that. What about 4-5-2 anyways? Pretty actually pretty good. Could even be the guy we go for, because technically we don't actually need a linebacker. We can run with what we got. But there's always room for improvement, as always. Always room for improvement. 4-4-6. There's a 4-4-2 in there. I mean, these guys are athletic, but they are raw. Which you can develop raw. But do you really want to? Not really. Not particularly. So we got a couple of guys on there. I don't need like every single fast player on the list. Just the ones that seem decent. And then we have outside linebackers. Oh my god, we got some UDFA potentials, which is not good. Yeah, that guy looks pretty bad just off rip. I did not want to click on Roberts again. Or was it Youngblood I was looking at already, as is? No, it wasn't. There's someone else. I mean, he doesn't look good, so it's not like we could have been tricked anyways. Brett Hunter, raw as hell. Is he a pass rusher? He is. Not a very good one, but he is one. What about Greg Porter? 6'3", 240, 64. Man, this is a really bad outside linebacker room. Like, this right outside linebacker room specifically is super bad. Like, that is one of the worst I've ever seen. So bad. Ben Kincaid, decently athletic. Day 3, might be worth sneaking onto the list. What about the rest? Anyone that comes off the board here crazy? Thomas is fast. Not really. And then, honestly, corner, we really don't need, so maybe I'll look at them, but there's not really much of a reason to, like, go through it. And then, even then, safety, also not really on my list of, like, needs, so we'll go through them, probably, but I don't think you guys need to see them, because we're probably just not going to grab one. All right, I think this is our draft board. I think this is the kind of list that we're looking at. I have no idea who I want the most. What I can tell you, though, is we cannot really afford to trade up past, like, pick 20. So we're just going to play it how it lies until then. Once we get to 20, then we maybe look at our board a little bit more and see who we want. There's no one that's, like, jumping off the page right now that's telling me, like, I got to trade up into the top 5. I got to trade up into the top 15. There's no one like that. There's maybe one of the linemen in the 1 to 2 range where, they could be generational because they're 46, reps or whatnot. But even then, we got Brandon Sheriff. We only need one lineman. So it's like, what's really the push, We also, believe it or not, got Alan Lazard on a 2-year 4. You might be thinking, why Alan Lazard? I honestly think, and I've always kind of thought of him as really just a tight end, and at 86 speed, I think he fits well as a number 3 tight end. I think $2 million on the year for a really solid blocker is perfectly fine. I mean, that's perfectly fine to me. We also add another player to the list in Logan Hall. We actually had ourselves a pretty successful, I'm going to take the offer on Parham, a pretty successful group of free agents. We even grabbed Tyndall for some speed as well. So really good free agent group as well. I think before we actually go into the draft, we're actually going to line those guys up as well to see what our true, for now, projected lineup looks like. All right, before we head into the draft, this is what the projected... Oh my god, I didn't even realize Ramondre Stevenson dropped down from X Factor to Superstar. What? Of course, could be related to age, but at the same time, this is kind of why I've never actually run dev regression, because it's just so broken. Stevenson had one of the greater rushing seasons we've seen in the last, 20 years, and yet goes down in dev. But you know what? He's 28 years old. Maybe that's why. Maybe he's, hitting that ceiling. Still looks good, though. I don't know what the regression point was of his actual, ratings. What were they? He lost 1 to break tackle. That's fine. But yeah, that does suck. Dropping down to Superstar is not fun. Kind of sucky. But, yeah, this is the team. Brandon Sheriff, the right guard. Ted Karras is the center. Obviously, we're looking to replace him. City So is star dev. Was he always star dev? O-line of the year. Oh. That happened, didn't it? Either way, great backup, I suppose. Tight ends, you have Faulkner, Bell, Lazard. Wide receivers didn't really change much. We're looking to do that in the draft. Keaton is the number 2 running back. Linebacker, definitely should have done more for. But Tyndall is on the team now, and obviously we're looking to draft someone. D-line, that is really the biggest issue going into this year, was not having depth there. We had injuries. It was scary. We have depth now. Of course, Keon White loses his dev, but still, normal dev, really good. You know, Khalil Mack is amazing. Corners are still really good, even without Jonathan Jones. Safeties are really deep. So, yeah, I mean, we're just looking to potentially get a new wide receiver, maybe a new edge rusher for the future, because we don't know if Ojulari/Uche are going to be the guys, but I think we had a pretty good offseason so far, just from the free agent standpoint. I think we did pretty well with, you know, the depth areas that we needed to work on, and now we're heading to the draft, hopefully about to add even more. And of course, we're not going to get our freaking focus scouting, our private scouting done, because the game glitches me. Yeah, it's pretty disappointing. Can't lie. I wonder if there's a way, can I, like, relegate it? At least I'd get something out of it. Yeah, I mean, at least delegate it to those guys. At least I'll get a chance at, you know, more scouting. Pretty disappointing, to be honest, but here we are, entering the draft. I think we're going to go by a 10-pick basis. So after 10, we'll look at what our board looks like, see if we want to make a move. Unlikely to happen, though. Oh, crap, I forgot about this. Oh, no. Jared Posey to the Commanders. I do want this. I just don't want this for players that aren't ours. We see the left tackle Edison goes. The guy was on our list. 2 tackles on the first 3 picks. Heath Baker at number 4. And then the Chargers, they take a tackle as well. Stanley. I don't know how many tackles they need, but apparently all of them. A different Edison, the corner Edison, who looked pretty good too. Right end Quincy. Chris Quincy looked actually really good. Going to see him in our division. Schmidt also looked really good to the Seahawks. Was never moving up for either of those guys, though, so that's why, you know, I don't really worry too much. And then after 10 picks, we see another left tackle. Leclerc was on our list as well. As you can see, you know, bad things are happening. We're at 29, and a lot of the players we wanted are already looking kind of gone. Were we willing to take any of these wide receivers, though? I don't know. Patton, maybe, 6'3". Looks raw, though, so it's not like I'm fiending for him. I don't even know if I would trade up for him, but I'm you know, got him on the idea, got him on the list, potentially. Defensive tackles, I kind of liked... Who the hell was it? I really liked Cobb, but he's a 23-year-old, which is already kind of like... I don't know, this draft class in general did feel kind of weak. It just feels weak, you know? So there might be a chance that we do actually trade up because of how weak it is. Ernest Davidson to the Titans. Lowry to the Lions. We're not seeing the slowdown anymore. Beecham to the Browns at 13. McKinney to the Raiders at 14. Vasquez to the Texans at 15. Stover, was that... I can't remember. It was one of the linemen were like, you know, really strong, obviously. Riles, and then the Dolphins take a center. Was it the center they actually projected us to take? I think it might have been. Offensive line, did we see the guy? It's Hunter, isn't it? Caleb Hunter, 6'6". You know, not as strong as I thought. 345. I thought it was... Who was the guy with 46 reps? Maybe it was the nose tackle, not even a lineman. Swear we seen a guy with those reps, though, no? Was it Eckel? Swear we saw 46 reps. 38 reps for Eckel. Was it Agnew, maybe? 6'5", 330. Maybe not. Maybe it was just one of the nose tackles. Either way, though, wide receiver's still there. It could be a position we go. Townsend, he was actually really solid, too, as a defensive tackle. Yeah, I mean, as long as we got one of those guys, the wide receiver, Patton, or the DT type, Townsend. Do I trade up for the wide receiver? He's not even the number 1 wide receiver, but maybe they know that he's better. Caleb Hunter goes. I mean, we're really risking here. The Chiefs going to take him, maybe. Okay, I mean, the wide receiver's there. Is that who we take? Is wide receiver the position we are going for? Of course, do have the 23-year-old Levi Rivers. I need a center more than anything else. So, I mean, obviously we can future-proof for the eventual potential loss of Mr. Onwenu, but not necessarily now. Bryce Smith obviously could play guard. Actually kind of fits more as a guard, in my opinion, with that size than at tackle. Let's actually look at our actual favorites. Maybe that would help a little bit. Townsend obviously is gone. Do see Eckel, who looked pretty good. Reynolds, that's, a 2 to 3. Do have Glenn Saunders, B's across the board with an A tackle. DT, I mean, it is a need. Was there other options? I know we have Cobbs, but and it really is hard for me to take somebody that's 23, I can't lie. It really is, but he is insanely athletic. He is intriguing, no doubt. No doubt in my mind he's intriguing. Linebacker is also something I might want, though, so who was we had a 3 to 4. No, he's not. I thought he was a 3 to 4 DT. I mean, I really, pure value-wise, it's either trade down or take Patton. I like Patton quite a bit. What about Way? He's 5'11", or 5'10". I'm not really a huge fan of the size there. I think he's a better pure wide receiver, though. But you know what? I think D. Patton, even though he doesn't look great, I think the athleticism is good. I think some of the route runnings look pretty good. I'm going to take the chance on D. Patton, 21 years old, 6'3" D. Patton. Is that true talent 18? Okay, let's see the man come up. Wide receiver 2, potential wide receiver 1, who the hell knows? D. Patton. Looks like we might have found ourselves a steal. Assuming that true talent was what it was. Obviously, he's not wearing number 1 because we already got that. True talent 18. We drafted him at 29. They got us with a B grade. That's pretty good. Late first is going to get those lower grades most of the time. Sudden hands make catches look easy. Strong hands to make catches through contact. And then comes down with the toughest catches. So we have ourselves, according to the scouting report, a jump ball receiver, which is what I was aiming for. Now, the real moment of truth. Is he hidden? Oh, that sucks. And he's not even good at jumping either. Did I overlook that? Did I actually overlook his verticality? Either way, 92 speed, 94 excel, 91 change of direction for a 6'3" wide receiver. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. And honestly, I have way too much to go for to trade up. I have no chance. I mean, I want to trade up from the 3rd round. So, yeah, that's where I stand currently. So that's just, we're never trading up. So I'm just not even going to entertain it. So we're just going to move on. Offensive line, we at least need one player. And like I said, I think Palmer is probably that player. Defensive tackle, we really do need. Day 3 Childers. I'm going to move down to like 8 in the 3rd round. I really need to gain something to try and move back up, I think. So we're going to try to do that here if we can. Of course, we're not really getting those offers. The 6th round pick is really not what I was hoping. I was hoping to get like a 4th or maybe even at worst a 5th. All right, so we moved down from 61 using a 6th 2 years from now to grab 74 and 106 from the Giants, which is a little bit further of a drop than I was hoping for. So I do worry a slight bit. Ooh, Gillisley was actually a really good running back. I'm pretty sure that was the fast, like 1 to 2 or 2 to 3 guy. Problem is we're now down to 10, which could cost us linemen. So we're going to keep an eye on this. We want to make sure we have at least 2, do we? We do. We have Brandt, who's a 2 to 3. That's the problem. Like, the chances of him still being there is pretty low. I think because we do need a brand new center, and I don't even like Brandt as much as Palmer, I'm going to go until one of them is gone, and then we trade up for the other one. So hopefully we're lucky and they both just stick around. Looking okay. I do want the center more. Oh, we're going to move to the Chargers. Shouldn't cost us much, though. We're not too far behind here. It was such like a small sliver that they needed that this 59 overall tight end was the guy to push it over the edge. We trade a 3 this, a 6 next to move up 5 spots with the Chargers, which is going to be the drafting of the center, Mr. Balmer. It's actually Palmer. I thought it was Balmer. Justin Palmer looks pretty damn good to me. Super athletic. I'd be shocked if he's not hidden. True talent 52. That's concerning. And he's hidden. Whoo-wee! 87 strength, 74 speed, 82 excel. I mean, solid pick. Oh, and I didn't even realize Cobb is still there. I think I'm going to trade up for Cobb. I think this could be a sneaky player. I didn't think Cobb was going to be there still. Is it Cobb? Cobbs? I don't really care. It doesn't matter. 23 years old. This is going to ruin me. This is going to ruin me mentally because he's going to be a bad pick and I'm going to be mad. Is this too little? Okay. Don't really... I mean, we're already doing what we did last year. It worked, though. We still have the 7th round next year. Of course, still have pick 10 in the 4th round, which, I mean, we kind of need a linebacker a little bit. Maybe we'll be able to pull one of those off. There was a day 3 linebacker in there, though, wasn't there? We had a singular one. Who was the tall guy? Chapman, day 3. That guy looks so good, too. I don't even know if I really need Cobb that bad, but I really like the athleticism. He's 23, but he's such an interesting player that I just have to make the play, I think. Roy Cobb. Please just be hidden, dude. True talent 55. They did also bring him on out to the podium, which could mean something. Because they didn't show our center, did they? I don't think they showed our center. Maybe it's because this guy's a 2-3. It could be a 2. That's why. But either way, Roy Cobb, kind of, reminding me a little bit of Mark Henry, a little bit. True talent 55, a B+, good pick, a powerful frame. Sudden hands can create quick pass rush wins, and then has good football IQ and play rec. Dev of Hidden Dev, 89 strength, 81 speed, 85 excel. Something looked special about him. You know, that speed at that size, it's just not something you can really teach. Let's move on to the next round. We really can't afford to trade up anymore. I really don't think we can. So we move on to round 4, pick 1. Arguably our last selection we actually even have that we can make. Was that outside linebacker still there? We do have Baxter. We also do have the cornerback Brooks. I don't know if I really want to move into the next draft. Or not the next draft, but I got to trade up for Baxter. I was about to say, I don't really want to go into the next season without a new linebacker. Whether we're starting the linebacker or not, I want a new one. Is there a way I can make this trade with the Commanders for, like, a straight-up player? I highly doubt it, but let's see. All right, we trade City So, Keon White, and Kayshon Boutte with a 7th round 2 years from now to the Commanders for a 4th round pick. It actually took all of that. And I didn't really like doing that because, Keon White put in some solid reps for us. City So did as well. And unfortunately, I decided to throw them all away for a linebacker that might not even start. I had to, though. This guy looks pretty good. He's fast. Antoine Baxter. Bunch of C's across the board, but super athletic. Please be good, Baxter. Please be decent. Okay, another player that they're going to bring up to the podium. That's got to be a good sign, right? Unless they showed our center as well, which I don't remember if they did or not. I was too busy thinking to myself and kind of yapping along. We'll have to see, what this guy looks like too. Oh God. Oh God. All right, so like we expect, possesses good speed for linebacker. He's a big hitter, and he's a sideline-to-sideline pursuiter. Problem is, we took a guy that is triple in bad for true talent, true value. Please be good. Okay, they say he's normal dev, but 89 speed, 90 excel, 77 change direction. We can absolutely work with that. I was expecting, maybe a 68 to 70 overall. Didn't get that. Believe it or not, did not get that. What other things were we trying to get here, though? A bunch of these UDFA wide receivers, they're either speed or size to play tight end. Obviously, with Lazard, I don't really know if I need that. Oh, Carl Brooks. It's not Carl Brooks, it's Caleb Brooks. Rest in peace, Carl Brooks. I really want Caleb. But I don't want to trade up again because I can't really afford it. Oh, I got to trade up again. I'm making so many trade-ups now. But it's just I'm addicted. Okay? I have no choice. They need a slight nudge. Here's your Graves. All right, Caleb Brooks, and that's it. I don't know. I mean, our draft was up and down. I think more good than bad. But this guy's a 1-2 talent. Don't even necessarily need a corner, but the value is just there. It really is. Speed, 1-2 talent. Let's see what we got. 43, true talent. We got another guy up to the podium. Might have actually just been all of our players up to the podium because that middle linebacker didn't deserve to get, highlighted because of some rating we don't know about. Only thing that sucks about doing the draft is that I don't get to look at the devs. I really want to, but I can't. I simply cannot. And I genuinely don't look at them. You know, if I had to change a lineman, I just change the lineman. 43 shoot talent. Does he have NFL speed? Absolutely does. Dependable tackler and needs more time in the film room. He's speed's probably going to be 91 to 2. And there it is. 91 speed, 91 excel, 93 change of direction and agility, 86 jumping at 6'2". The suit's looking fresh as hell. Literally fresh. Like, it literally looks like he is a mint. We can't trade up anymore. We traded up way too much as is. I was hoping to maybe even, like, deepen our draft picks for next year, but instead we're basically in the exact same boat. But that's fine because this draft was all right. You know, this draft turned out okay. We ended up trading more actual players, which, you know, you guys always tell me I need to. But let's take a look at his draft recap, see what overalls we got. We only drafted 5 players. I really felt like we drafted so many, but that's fine. 5 players is pretty good. 75, 73, 72, 65, 73. One thing that sucked, like I said, about not being able to look at the players is that I really want to see what Cobb's like because, you know, we traded up for a guy that was a lot of question marks, and, you know, we don't know if we made the right call or not. As far as Patton goes, disappointed in the lack of run blocking, but everything else I think it's great. You know, his only bad thing besides the run blocking is the fact that he's not hitting, which, fair enough. Doesn't have ag catch, which makes no sense because he's an 86 spec. Some things you might just need to kind of correct on your own, if I'm going to be real, because how do you have 86 spec catch? Like, is there, can I, like, I don't know if they're going to show that as a rating. What's his spec catch compared to the rest of the class? Where is it? Spec. It's the second highest spec catch in the class, obviously, you know, tied with a bunch of other players. What about Broyles? We had a choice of him as well. Normal dev. That jumping, though. In fairness, the jumping. But yeah, the speed, you know, the speed in Excel is 2 and 5 less. I can't choose another guy because of, you know, jumping versus speed. Speed is the ultimate rating for skill position players, especially in Madden. But looking at, you know, Palmer, looks great. Finesse blocking's great. Power blocking's not even that bad. And then, you know, base pass block's pretty good. Super athletic. Willie Undersell's a really solid looking center. Then we move on to DT, where Cobb, I think, automatically gets a starting job just for the fact that he's hidden. Very raw, though. Worse than I would have thought. I thought the finesse was going to be somewhere in the 77-plus range, but still good. Has swim move, bull rush, strip. Injury concerns, though, which, you know, that's kind of the reason why we keep moving and adding new D-line, because we just have injury issues in general. Then we have Antoine Baxter. This was a bad pick for us. Not only was he a bad player for the most part, but we also traded off great depth. Then again, though, 66 catching, which is not even super common for a linebacker with good hit power and speed. Is he really that bad? What does this change direction? 77 COD. That, yeah, we've seen that actually. It's pretty good. Caleb Brooks is as raw as they said he is, but as far as like value picks go, fair enough, right? 4th round pick. Looks like a 4th round pick to me. If we're going to talk to the media, we might be able to get away with Patton, but he's not really a first rounder, so I don't know if they're actually going to see him as a gem, but sometimes you get away with it. But yeah, curious to see some of these players. Mullins looks really good. 88 speed, 87 excel, 84 power move, 86 strength. Like almost every pass rush trait you can ask for an outside linebacker. I think this team actually is a 4-3, so I'll change if not. But yeah, he looks great. He looks as great as I would have expected based on the speed that we seen there. Pat Edison, was that 82 speed? It was not. I thought it was 82 speed for a tackle. That looks like a generational lineman as well. This is going to be superstar dev more than likely, and it is. So a couple of generationals in there, which is pretty impressive. It's pretty cool. And then you have Heath Baker, the wide receiver, normal dev. I was feeling normal. I was feeling it. Has the generational ratings, though, so very strange that, you know, he isn't better than that. Really good stiff arm for a wide receiver as well. But yeah, this is a really solid wide. This is literally like Cortland Sutton. I mean, it's almost just like Cortland Sutton, ironically enough, just a bit faster. Similar height. Oh, the whole shebang. Cornerback Edison, another Edison. Normal dev, though, as well. Disappointing, but still a good player. And then some of the players, if they would have fell to me, I was kind of thinking might have been players we would have looked at. Quincy, 79 finesse move, super slow. We would have expected slow. That's kind of the whole, like, Bosa shtick, if you will. And then you have Bobby Schmidt, who's actually hidden development trait a little bit faster as well. Let's take a look at what his development trait is. Probably looking at superstar, if I had to guess. It's not. It is star dev. Not the best of players, got to be honest with you there. LeClaire was on my list, I think, 73. Hidden dev, we talk about it all the time. Like, unless you're almost guaranteeing, you're almost very confident that they are generational, is it worth it? Like, star dev, I don't know what our center is. Maybe he even is a superstar, but he's at least that good, and we took him 2 rounds later. Beecham, was he a 1 to 2? Was he the 1 to 2? I can't remember. He might have been the 2 to 3, but obviously super intrigued by him because of the size, 6'7", 300 some pounds, 330 I think it was, 335. Dev of star, another guy where it's like, sweet, star dev, that's great. That's it? Just a little bit of star dev? Is that all you got for me? Vasquez, another guy that if he would have fell to the 20s, there might have been an opportunity for us to trade up for him. Looks great. Really, decently athletic. Very good finesse move. Hidden dev. Star dev. Of course, I don't mind looking at the other players because I'm not, making trades for them or, they're not my players, so I don't really care too much. Hayden Daniels is actually the guy they told us to draft. 78 overall center. I mean, if he was there, maybe. I didn't really get to scout him too far, but I don't think I would have traded up for a center. Oh, should have, though. That kind of sucks. Interdivisional, our biggest need going into the draft. And at 20, right on the nose, kind of where we said we might have traded up for, there he goes. And, of course, Townsend, about as good as I would have thought. I see, the ratings that he's got there. I would have actually thought like 60 or 72 power move, but 74 is even better. Star development trait, Townsend. It sucks that our wide receiver wasn't hidden dev, but I think he is pretty good. He's got the size, got some speed. Agnew, I think, would have been like the last guy on my list besides Eckler. Hidden development trait, lead block's good. Probably would have drafted him to play center, though, that's a big center. That's a pretty big center. Probably would have moved Connor Williams over. And yet again, another star dev player. Oh, here he is, Chapman, 68 overall. Oh, he's not bad by any means, especially since he's huge and has all the pass rush traits. But yeah, that would have been a little bit of a another bad pick, kind of like the Baxter pick. And the last 2 things I want to see is speed. We had a 97 speed wide receiver in the round 7. Completely forgot about that position, to be honest. And then quarterback, which, I mean, it featured a couple of decent players, but no one that's like knocking the socks off, if you will. Any division rivals with the QB? 4th rounder for the Dolphins. And it does not appear the Bills in the 4th round as well. But yeah, it doesn't really appear to be any like game-changing decisions, franchise-changing decisions, division-changing decisions, if you will. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what I would grade our draft. I feel like it's a B, B-. It's not bad, not great. There's potential there, though. Patton, I think, based on the wide receivers we've seen, was one of the best that was there, outside of obviously that 80 overall. He was one of the best that we had, and he's a 75 overall with some speed. The jumping is really the only concern I have for him, but even then, how much does it really matter? It's usually, in my opinion, all about the actual height of the player that matters when talking about those jump ball situations. But yeah, I think I prefer to have a guy that's a bit faster than just a bit better at jumping and catching. But yeah, that's pretty much going to be it for this one. This is obviously the off-season kind of team building. And the next episode will be the training camp, the practices, and the preseason, where we're actually going to get to see the players that are out there. Obviously, Patton, you would think would be a guy that you really want to develop, but at the same time, Baker's still around. Baker's still not a bad player by any means. So does Baker drop to the 4? Patton at, number 4? We'll have to find out in preseason. If you guys have any name suggestions, maybe some number suggestions, let me know. Sometimes, you guys love the name. Sometimes you guys are like, hey, you should have kept it. Dude, it's a cool name. Why'd you change it? Looking at some of the names just off the top of my head, D. Patton, I can live with that. I think there's cooler names, but I can obviously live with that. Center, what do we got? Justin Palmer. I think that's an okay name. It's not bad. We didn't get any new pass rushers, which is disappointing. Roy Cobb. I feel like it doesn't really work as well. Antoine Baxter's a cool name. And then cornerback, where the hell was he? Caleb Brooks is cool. So, I mean, we could easily roll with all the names you got, but I also could change them and the numbers. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. Follow me on Twitter, Jeromepkr, second channel PK Plays for non-Madden content. And, yeah, that's pretty much going to be it. I would do a like goal, but really doing a a preseason video on NFL Sunday is probably not the best move. But yeah, appreciate you guys watching, and like I said, hope you guys come back for next video, all that good stuff. Leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. I don't think there'll be a rebuild later today. There might be one tomorrow talking about NFL Sunday. It's not as important, though. It's a rebuild, and it's a one-off thing, whereas this is a series. I don't want you guys to miss a single beat. But that's about it. Be on the lookout for content. That's really all I can say. Let me know what you guys thought of the draft, about the offseason. What do you think we did well? What do you think we did bad on? What do we need to improve on? It's still, the offseason after all. We can easily trade draft picks, players for different pieces, different positions. But I think we address most of our issues, right? I mean, our D-line's deeper, even though we traded Keon White. Our O-line's deeper, even though we traded off City So. I wouldn't even say deeper, but just better, right? Like, it's a better offensive line now with Sheriff at right guard. Our wide receiver room's better. Our running back room's better. I think we did a pretty good job with depth. Did we really improve our actual starters by a whole lot? Maybe not so much, but the depth is definitely better. Regardless, though, thanks for watching. I hope you guys come back for next video, but until next video, see ya. And once again, shout out to all the members. I really do appreciate you guys. If you want to join as a member yourself, there should be a join option next to the subscribe or channel name itself, and all the details will be in there. Regardless, though, thanks for watching. See ya.